Welcome to the Seven Figure Leaders podcast. This podcast was created to celebrate the success stories of seven-figure business owners, giving them a platform to share their insights and lessons learned in order to inspire other business owners. As well as that, it's an opportunity to build new connections. So if you're a seven-figure business owner or someone who works with seven-figure business owners and you're looking for introductions to potential stakeholders, strategic partners and clients, I'd love to hear from you or have you on as a guest and see if I can help make those connections for you. Just go to synergycfosolutions.co. That's synergycfosolutions.co and click podcast. And there you'll find the link to apply. Hey, today we've got Charlie Thwaites of Thwaites Capital, an FX broker based in the City of London. Welcome, Charlie.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you. So best place to start, why don't you give us a bit of background into Thwaites Capital and who you help?
Yep. So Thwaites Capital is now 3 years old. We set this up in order to help businesses and individuals change up money globally with a unique boutique service to help them achieve this goal.
Okay. So have you got like an example of like a client that you've helped, just so that anyone listening can understand how they might fit into what you do?
Yeah. So three types of typical client that we deal with is an individual changing up money to buy an overseas property that's not in their home currency. So for an example, a UK person wanting to buy a villa in south of France, typically that would be exchanged from sterling into euros. Another example would be a startup or a small business wanting to expand into a new market around the globe, and or an established business, maybe a medium-sized business or an institutional, which is a regulated business in London, wanting to change up some of their money from one currency to another. So we can cater for individuals and typically any size, small or medium-sized business.
Sounds great. And so what's the journey that you've been on to get to the point that you're at now then?
Yeah, so started 10 years ago as a salesman, hitting the phones, finding new ways to get clients on board. I think that's really difficult because, we're all sort of fighting for the markets are all very competitive. So I did that for numerous amounts of years, then explored into different areas of the business. And then 3 years ago, decided to set up my own business with my co-founder and start our journey from there, really, to try and do things the way I want to do things and my partner.
Okay. And so how do you want to do things and how does your partner want to do things? What have you set up that's kind of, unique and your way?
Businesses doing what we do, currency brokers, they're after one thing, which is more clients and quite happy to give everyone a zero price. I think where
zero price, just so that everyone knows.
Imagine buying something for £10 and selling it for £10.50. I think where we are, we're here for a 5 to 10 year play. Hopefully, as a family business, we're actually here for the ancestors to take over. We are here to help the client, and we're here to help the client with added service that comes first with a fair price. I think when both parties get what they need, they work stronger together for longer.
Okay. And what's added service? Again, just spell it all out so that everyone listening knows exactly what it means.
What I find within the currency market with businesses, so any business listening to this, when they onboard with a platform that might be the ones that you may have heard of, I won't say them, you just get a platform. So that will give you all the services and functions to exchange globally and deal globally. But what's lacking is understanding of how to really utilize these platforms. And not only that, we're ever growing in terms of, the scope around the globe. This needs sort of help in order to go into different markets. Businesses need to price up their product or service in different currencies, which could be quite challenging, especially for a business owner that knows their industry or their product or entrepreneurial new product that they're trying to disrupt in the market. We can help on the currency front. Picking up the phone, talking to us, we can run a real sort of overview of what they're trying to achieve. And then we can, 10 years plus service and experience in currencies, we can really, really get to the nitty gritty and help them out. Mm-hmm. Going into more detail there, if you're suddenly selling a product in Europe, you're going to have to price up your euro price of what you're going to be selling those products at. And for the next 12 months, that rate of exchange changes. So we can help out how they can sort of run the risk and control the risk.
So again, just spelling it out. So let's say you're a facilities management company and you're setting up a base in Dubai or France or wherever it is. What you're saying is you would help that business owner firstly turn the money that they need to into the local currency, but then also manage the risk so that they're hedging back, and then also they're pricing their services or their products correctly in the foreign currency so that they're definitely making a profit and they're locking some of it in. Have I got that right?
Exactly. So going into more detail on some of the products we offer that the platforms don't necessarily tell you how to use, is locking in an exchange rate really important. It's one of our most popular products, and it's definitely for any business owners or CFOs out there listening. You have to have an understanding of certain profits or revenue that's generated not in your home currency. If you're going to be exchanging, if you know you're going to be exchanging a certain portion, you've got to have a look at maybe locking in some of that, realizing and fixing that rate. So if the market does go completely against you, which, by the way, no one has any control of the FX market. It's a huge market. Not even the big banks and disruptors know where the market's really going. You can utilize a forward rate. You know exactly how many pounds or how much it's going to cost you without having to worry.
Mm-hmm. And again, just to make it so that everyone understands, forward rate is where we agree a price in the future for the rate we're going to get for the foreign currency. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay. And I know from previous conversations that we've had that you also help out a little bit with setting up in certain markets, contracts wise. What does that look like? And is that kind of is that like one of these value add things that you mentioned with the FX?
Exactly. So, giving a customer a good price on the foreign exchange is all very well. But, having a broker that's just going to sort of give you cheap rates means that you're going to get cheap service because the broker's not going to get the money's worth. Meaning you're not going to get the service that you should be getting from the broker. So going back to that question, we would have a look. So I'll give you an example. A client has €1 million contract, but they're based in the UK. That €1 million is going to be dripping in for the next 4 months. Now, the exchange rate's going to be fluctuating up and down within these 4 months, meaning that he or she has fixed in a rate with the person paying them in euros, but they haven't locked in a rate. They haven't secured sort of their profit margins, meaning that if the rate does go against them, it eats into their profit margins. So what we can do is we can look at that contract, go, right, okay, how do you want to play this? We don't offer advice, but we offer maybe some strategies that they can decide to take out, and whether they want to book it all in there or just do half. It just means that those €1 million isn't fluctuating every day, every minute, because they haven't locked in a rate.
Yeah, that's well explained. And then as a result of that, it's almost like pricing it in your home currency and that you know what you're going to receive, and then you can manage your cash flow and profitability accordingly.
Exactly.
Perfect. So obviously you start like switching the conversation slightly. So you started your own business. As I know, as the listeners of this podcast will know, that can be tough at times. How has that been for you? And what are the kind of main challenges that you faced along the way?
Yeah, it's tough. Much tougher than one would, I did think when setting it up. I think the main challenge is when you wake up every morning, you're your own boss, and it's every morning. And there's no one, I think in a lot of people in their early careers, they default, they can go straight to work, they listen to what they get told and they do what they get told, and they go home and start all over again. I think with a business owner, you constantly are thinking about how to be different, how to expand your business, where you might be just copying someone else's idea or so forth. I think the real challenge I find is switching off. I think it's really, really difficult, which is great. There's some lots of pros to that. I think leaving your phone, turning it off at a certain time in the evening is probably the best way to do things. Put it in another room, read a book, go to bed, start all over again. I think one of the biggest challenges is now turning your mind off and getting that good rest. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And yeah, easier said than done about turning the phone off, reading a book. But one thing that I've actually done recently is turn my phone into black and white. I read it somewhere as a productivity hack, and you'd be surprised. You pretty much don't want to look at your phone. The addictiveness just disappears.
Really? Black
Yeah,
and
yeah.
white?
Black and white. Yeah, I'll show you how to do it.
That actually makes total sense.
Yeah.
That might help me because I'd actually looked at Nokia have just released the new 3210.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
those.
and they're 60 odd quid with a SIM. And I was thinking about getting one of those. Just just turn off the iPhone, chuck it away for a bit, and then just get me on the dial.
Yeah, yeah, good idea. And so what's your role in the company? Obviously, you're a founder and everything you just talked about, but you mentioned a partner as well.
Yeah, so co-founder with my business partner. My day-to-day role, I'm predominantly, but my background is operations. So my day-to-day predominantly be looking after our clients. We're 3 years old. We've got about 190 corporates, businesses, and we have just under 100 individuals. So I just look after them. I get help with my co-founder as well, who's much older. And we've also just brought on my cousin, who's also a Thwaites, to help with some of the admin side of things. But predominantly my day-to-day operations and looking after the clients accordingly. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the plan for the next few years? You talked about actually, no, you mentioned generational, handing it down to the next generation. So what's the plan here for you?
Yeah. So 3 years old. We want to start looking. We're going to be obviously looking to get more businesses on board. I think we're reaching a cutoff point where we need maybe 1 or 2 staff. We've just launched a new product or a new service, I'd say, not a product, helping businesses set up their business globally. So in different jurisdictions. We're going to be focusing on Dubai. We found that out of our 200 clients, about 15% of them had not secretly set up in Dubai because we knew about it, but they were sort of slowly doing it in the last sort of 18 months, which is quite a lot, considering we don't boast a massive client list.
Yeah.
So we sort of asked them why. We saw them changing up sterling into dirhams, and I just thought this is a really good opportunity. So we have just been working the last 3 months to open this up, and it's actually going live this week, next week, fully on the platform. We've currently got 6 businesses pending to look to set up in the next month or 2, which is really exciting because what we can do is we can offer, visas, we can do business licenses, accounting over there, all third party, and then obviously the currency account, because they're going to be going into new jurisdictions. We can give them the currency account, and it's all under one banner. So we're really excited by this, and there are new markets opening up around the globe, and that's what I've been really, really focusing on recently. Just like where's the new sort of spot? We are so global. Businesses, individuals are moving around. I'm finding this really, really exciting because it's different to all the other my competition.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really exciting. So we can really, a lot of people just, like I said, go on to find a currency platform and then do it themselves. It's kind of like going to IKEA. It's going to break after 2 years. They're going to fall over. So being with us from day one, it's going to help because we're doing things properly.
Yeah. And so an example of how that might fit in for someone listening. So again, let's say you're make it up construction company. You want to go and you're a UK-based construction company. You want to go to Dubai. So what you're going to help with is a visa for the owner and whoever in the team needs to go, bank accounts in the local market, legally setting up the entity, paying tax, all that stuff.
Exactly. So like I said, our partners over in Dubai, they are the ones that will be giving this all out. And not only that, depending on what sector you're in, they have a whole list of government contracts. So if the client moving to Dubai wants also to get in on the action, again, it's all what you pay for. They also have a long list of contracts, meaning so if you are a construction firm or whatever, and Dubai government needs some work, they can tender from this through the consultants. So it's a one-stop shop for everything to basically move globally. I mean, we even have two firms, one in the north, one in the south, that does all the logistics. So we had a firm, 40 staff from Manchester, want to move to Dubai, and the logistics company came in, got all their belongings and took them over there, all down to the owner wanting to move their staff, and they all wanted to go there. So
wow. So your team coordinated all of that? Yeah, that's a big value add for sure.
I think it's really important. Obviously, the timing now is getting quite self-explanatory. With the shake-up of the Labour Conservative government, whether one or the other gets in. UK going through some tough times. I think a lot of business owners are having a bit of a tough time to feel what's happening, and if they can, which they are, they're moving.
What do you think the driver is for that?
I think tax. I think also standard of living. I think people are quite miserable, or they have been. I think a lot of they have told me, always asked, why are you moving? A lot of business owners have done a vote, so their staff have simply voted to work over there because tax, want to have maybe 5 years out, save up some money, spend some money, whatever it might be. So it might not be necessarily a long term, but certainly for 5 to 10 years.
Okay, great. And okay, so if anyone listening thinks, yeah, I need to speak to Charlie, need to do some FX, got some foreign currency I need to convert, or whatever it is, or setting up in another market, how do they get in touch with you, and what's the process from here?
Yeah, so my website. So like I said, there's 3 of us. Getting in touch via phone or email, we typically respond within 12 hours. It's sometimes quicker. So to get in touch, please just ring or email us. Our website's thwaitzcapitalgroup.co.uk. You can also sign up an account straight away or inquire through the form on the Dubai page as well. So it's about a 5-minute registration page, nice and easy. And we would get on the phone and chat through what the requirements are. Perfect.
So yeah, everyone will have a link to your website. I'll also put your LinkedIn profile there as well, so anyone can message you directly from there as well. Anything else you want to add?
No, but thank you very much, Tom. Thank you so much for having me. I think the last thing I wanted to actually say, as it's a recorded podcast, is any businesses that are struggling with foreign exchange. There are so many decent foreign exchange brokers out there. And I just would like to say to any owner or CFO, if you're using an online platform with no service behind it, just there's no need to use it. There are plenty of London currency brokers that are good, obviously myself included, but they can offer so much more than just your online platform. Please come away from it. It's just not going to give you anything. And don't go around fishing for good prices because it's not going to be long standing. So that's the only thing I'd like to say, just with my knowledge in the last 11 years. So yeah.
That's great. Charlie, thanks for coming on. Pleasure to hear about Thwaites Capital. And it sounds like you're doing a tremendous job for your clients. So very excited to see Thwaites Group carry on growing over the next few years.
Tom, thanks very much for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, this podcast was created to celebrate the success stories of 7-figure business owners, giving them a platform to share their insights and lessons learned in order to inspire other business owners. As well as that, it's an opportunity to build new connections. So if you're a 7-figure business owner or someone who works with 7-figure business owners and you're looking for introductions to potential stakeholders, strategic partners and clients, I'd love to hear from you or have you on as a guest and see if I can help make those connections for you. Just go to synergycfosolutions.co. That's synergycfosolutions.co and click podcast. On that page, you'll find the link to apply.